89 on up, back with part 2 with On the Edge with BJ, APB. And the topic today is domestic violence. So we're going to pick back up where we left off at part 1 about the homie inside the spot with a female on some back in the day shit on a domestic violence thing. So go ahead, dog. You got the floor again.
Yeah, so what ended up happening was the homie, he get up off the floor. When he get up off the floor, he crying and start dialing 911. I'm laughing at him, and as I'm laughing at him, I'm like, damn, why you gonna call the police on her for real? He tell me straight up, he said, man, look, if I go in there and whoop her ass, they gonna strike me out. He like, I'm tired of going to jail for this shit. He said it's her turn to go to jail and learn what it feel like to call, collect, learn what it feel like to depend on somebody to come put a wet 40 on your books, learn what it feel like to have somebody send your package. So I'm sitting there laughing because I'm like, damn, you know, I'm looking at it like, man, go in there and whoop her motherfucking ass, you know what I mean? And he sat there, and so when the police come, he opened the door, he bleeding everywhere.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And now he putting on the show, the police there, you know, he's stumbling and acting like he's finna pass out, so they carry him over to the table and set him down in a chair, and he got the towel on him, he explaining what happened. The police looking at me, I'm over there on the sofa, I'm busting up laughing. They ask me, did I see anything? I tell them, man, I'm on parole, I ain't even supposed to be up in here, you know what I mean? I said, man, I just stopped by to check in, you know? So they tell me to have a seat, and they go to the back room and knock on the door. When they knock on the door, the girl comes to the door. They tell her she under arrest for domestic violence. She go to hollering and screaming and cutting up. And as they walking around the house, she telling them like, man, tell them BJ, tell them what you seen and what happened. And, you know, I'm telling her like, you know, I ain't got nothing to do with that, man. I just stepped by. So the police, they laughing at me. They like, man, they like, you didn't see nothing? I'm like, no, I didn't see nothing, man. I said, man, I was dozed off for a second and woke up. They talking about something didn't happen. I said, man, I'm trying to get up out of here, you know? So afterwards, they like, you know, it's all to the good, you know what I mean? And they left. So when they left, I get up out of there, and the homie like, man, he like, you wrong. Why you didn't tell him what you seen? I told him, like, man, I'm not going to be testifying on no woman for fighting and shit. I'm cool on that shit. But in reality, as I got older, I realized this is a constant problem in our community with all the other things, you know what I mean? And when kids see this, they parents fighting and stuff, sometimes they have mixed emotions, you know, like sometimes I'm not going to say that a woman wrong or the dude wrong, you know what I mean? I'm just going to say that sometimes it be a woman that stay by herself, a man put his hands on her, whatever, she defend herself, I can respect that. But at sometimes it be a woman that stay by herself and she abusive, you know, she know how to fight real good, she kind of heavy set or skinny, but she really know how to defend herself to where she think it's cool to knock her man out all the time. And the reason she like that is because sometimes she was that same little girl that was in the house watching her moms get dogged, or her moms might have got killed through domestic violence. So she grew up like she not taking no shit, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing with a boy. A boy grew up seeing his mama get slapped around and she don't defend herself, you know what I mean, or call the police, you know, because she's a civilian. That little boy grew up thinking that's how you're supposed to discipline your woman or treat your woman. And it's kind of crazy, you know, that we see this every day, and nobody tries to fix it. Nobody speaks on it. It's just a quiet thing, you know. What you think?
Dog, that shit, like I said, it's on the edge all the time when it's cutting it up with you. But me coming up with domestic violence on me, I kind of seen it both ways. Like I said, with moms, with her relationships, and then I had aunties that was, like you said, thick boned or small, that came up a certain way, and they'll whoop a nigga ass. They'll jump off. So I kind of seen it both ways, but I still wasn't really, that wasn't my thing growing up. Nobody wanted to be physical, nigga young and all that shit, homie. But just to
Right.
bring it all the way back to the streets, I think my main strike of domestic violence probably came in and not just being a nigga that nigga, every broad I have, I'm gonna go upside this bitch head. And not to say bitch to degrade a female, but speaking in the terms of back then, homie, uh, that shit came. My shit came from the hood, homie. I gotta be honest, homie, cause I wasn't that type, homie. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I wasn't that type, homie. You know,
Right.
I done told females like, you know, like in the heat of a moment or something, like, bitch, I didn't come up like this, bitch. I seen my mama going through it. I seen, you know, I didn't come up like this. But when you join these gangs, homie, and like you said, some of these mothers from back then, uh, they didn't call the law. They didn't call reinforcement. Some of them sat around. So you would get some females, homie, that you be out here banging a cool G nigga, and the female not gonna really validate you if you ain't went upside her motherfucking head, homie. And you would go home as a gangster questioning that
Right.
shit, asking a big homie or two and another nigga on your level that been having a relationship. Like, man, what's up with old girl? Old girl act like she want a nigga to do this, go upside her head, get down with her. And I didn't have females banging tell me,
Right.
hey, you soft. You soft, G half. I'm like, what you mean soft? And she behind about like nigga, like I was supposed to be more demanding with her, homie. I was supposed to go upside her head and shit. And when a female tell a nigga that in the streets, homie, that's just like any other thing, putting in work, banging, robbing, and all that shit, fighting. Once a female puts something in your head too, homie, you gonna reconsider shit, homie. Like nigga, if I don't go in on this
Right.
bitch, the
Right.
next bitch
For
I'm
real.
going in on, homie. I'm slapping the next bitch that get out of line. And you be feeling like this some hood cultural shit. Because a lot of these females come to these hoods
Right.
with mixed emotions, homie. So like I said, homie,
Right.
a lot of my having to get violent or something, get physical with a female, it came from the turf, homie. You might have seen other G homies. Cause see, back in the days, homie, like I said, it wasn't all that. It ain't the thing to do. We'd never say it's the thing to do, but it was fashionable for a G homie with status. A bitch would get sassy back in the day. A homie would slap her, like check her, like bitch, you better tone that shit down. Cause we thought that was all the movement of being a G nigga in the game, homie. A lot of us didn't like it. A lot of us still was sitting on the
Right.
sideline like, ooh, that's fucked up. But these was homies that we felt was implementing G rules, homie, inside this shit, homie. You know, so a lot of homies, and I'm speaking,
Right.
you know, I always like to put myself on the line as well as you, but a lot of homies turned domestic violence. This hood made us like this because we all come from fucked up homes and seeing shit that we didn't like. But like I said, when we got homegirls mixed in with us, it brings a whole different status and value to our banging and characters, homie. You know, so I'm gonna let you chime back in, big homie, on what I was
Yeah,
saying.
and you know, like you said, right, like you said, a lot of that comes with the turf because I had a girl that cheated on me before. I thought I told you about it. Yeah, I told you about it with one of your homies. I caught her in the car in Inglewood at the gas station, and she wondering what I'm doing way over there. I just happened to be riding past and seen her. The busted you and got out the car and hit the dude up that was in the car. He just happened to be the homie from Neighbors, you know?
Right,
And I didn't put her out there. I just like, yeah, that's the home girl, man. You know, take care of her. Whoop to whoop, y'all have a good time. And I went around there and like hugged her, but I squeezed her, letting her know, like, yeah, you got caught. You know what I mean? And later on that night when we talked, she like, I asked her. I said, man, you know, you open up the door to some shit now. Since I know we're in an open relationship, that's how it's gonna stay. And she was like, you didn't care about me. And I said, what you mean I didn't care about you? She said, because you were supposed to get off of my ass and snatch me up out that car and take me with you. Instead, you just played like you didn't care. She said, you didn't care. That kind of fucked me up because I thought what I did was the right thing. You know, instead of having to catch two murders, I went on ahead and went about my business. You know, I'm not finna slap her in front of dude, and he probably really care about her, or he might be with her before I was, and he get out the car, me and him get into it, and get the scuffling, and he shoot me or I shoot him. Now, one of us is locked up for the rest of our life for a woman that didn't care about neither one of us. I'm not finna go through that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And my understanding of things, you know, didn't nobody teach me it was wrong to not hit a girl. Because like I said, everybody in my family, every dude in my family, except for one of my uncles, I've seen chastising a woman like that. You know, they woman get loud in public and embarrass them. Yeah, they get on her in public. You know what I mean? Like, since you embarrassed me. You know what I mean? I remember we was at a picnic, a family get-together, man, and we was playing football, all the boys, the family against each other. And one of my aunties that got smart with my uncle, she thinking because her brother's there and her cousin's there, ain't nothing gonna happen. She got smart, and my uncle took it to the van. They went to the...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
She came back from the van. He got back in the football game. She was sitting on the sideline. It looked like she had 4 quarters on her eye. Her eye was closed, and it looked like she had a stack of quarters on it. And I was like, damn. I was like, what happened to your eye? She didn't say nothing, you know, but Unc went over there and chastised and let her know, like, man, don't be getting at me like that in front of everybody. You think because your whole family here, I'm just going to let that go? He like, man, you crazy as motherfucker. And, well, my pops and everybody seen it. You know, that's their sister. So they went to asking questions. She wouldn't even tell what happened. She just accepted it, talking about she hit herself and this and that. But everybody knew, like, Unc went over there and touched her up. You know what I mean? He went over there and got in the van, socked her in the eye, and they got back out and went about their business like nothing was going on. She got up serving potato salad and everything. And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? And like I said before, me personally, I don't do it. I did it before, and I apologize to the girl when I did it. You know what I mean? And since then, no woman could come forth till this day and say that I put my hands on them. You know what I mean? I'll argue with them, might call them out their name, but I don't do it in front of everybody. You know, I do it behind closed doors or when we talking over the phone, and that's it. But what I don't understand, the reason I brought this topic up is I don't understand how your love could be so deep where any woman or man can sit there and let their lover give them a serious beat down to where they damn near dead, laying in the hospital or calling the police and getting pictures took looking like you crazy. And then the next night, you up 2, 3 in the morning whispering to the dude and you let him back in the house when your kids is against it, you know, or let the woman back in the house when your kids is against it, you know. Because I was always taught when a person put their hands on you, stomp you out and all that stuff, stab you or shoot you, man, the next time they're going to kill you. So that's not your friend or that's not your loved one. That's the way I see it.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Hey,
That's why I brought the topic up because,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, since we on 60 seconds, homie, we gonna close it out on the domestic violence, on the hood aspect of the domestic violence, and we're gonna pick back up on part 3, and we're gonna both weigh in and kind of chime in, homie, and then we might do a live after on questions and answering. So, homie, get back with us for part 3, 89 on up, homie, with On the Edge with BJ APB.